One of the best things about Gachiakuta is that it's an anime that focuses on its characters. Unlike many other shonen anime that thrusts viewers into its plot and never gives its character any breathing room, Gachiakuta avoids this completely. Yes, its plot is there, and it front-loads a lot of action to make sure you get that sweet dopamine hit to keep watching. Yet, in between all the action, are the human interactions that is the most important part of any story. Gachiakuta's characters literally get to sit around and just talk. They express themselves, they eat, they make jokes, they confront their mistakes, and reach out to others who are hurting. All of this grounds them as real people, allowing us to genuinely care for them. Rudo, for instance, a hot-headed idiot that you wouldn't want within a mile of you if you appreciate your sanity, is one of the most human, real, and well-written protagonists I've seen in recent shonen since Denji from Chainsaw Man. From the onset, we get to know Rudo, a broken young boy who has a deep connection with broken and discarded things as a result of his trauma. Due to his traumatic past, Rudo grew up into a kid that barely felt anything, and didn't know what he wanted from the world. Though his adoptive father Recto tried his best to bring enough life into him for him to even have feelings for a girl and even want to confess those feelings to her, it just wasn't enough. Rudo was too scarred and broken to find himself despite Recto's best efforts. And in an ironic twist of fate, an incident that caused Rudo much pain and banishment into a world of trash led him to people that could teach him things his father Recto never could, and potentially help him find out who he is and what drives him. Rudo's story and his character growth is simply beautiful, and one of the things that set this anime apart from so many others. But it doesn't stop there, because this great character work is not isolated to just Rudo. Each and every person he meets has personality, aspirations, and goals that are not dictated by him. This, coupled by the fact that Gachiakuta's story takes its time for us to get to know its world and these incredible characters, makes them feel real. This is such a rare thing to see in shonen anime. I can tell you how many times I wanted to hang myself whenever I watch my favorite characters, and a lot of my favorite anime get sidelined because of how fast the plot moved. I can express how many times I wish I got to see Rock Lee from Naruto live up to his potential, or how much I wanted to know more about Jean from Attack on Titan, or every member of Eren Squad for that matter. While some anime fare better than others in its character aspect, a lot of anime don't, which is why it's so refreshing seeing Gachiakuta break away from this storytelling flaw in anime. But this is only the first aspect of Gachiakuta that makes it so special. I haven't even talked about. To say Gachiakuta's magic system is unique would be a gross understatement. But since my vocabulary is very limited, then I'm going to say Gachiakuta's magic system is incredibly unique. See that? I added incredibly. Every major anime has a magic system, and if you've watched enough of these, you might have said to yourself you've seen it all. Then came Gachiakuta, which smacked you across the face and said you were dead wrong. Seriously dude, what other anime have you watched where powers literally revolve around trash? To put it simply, Gachiakuta's magic system revolves around special objects called vital instruments. These are everyday items that transform into weapons. How these items become vital instruments depends on one thing. You being Andy from Toy Story. In other words, you have to have an insanely obsessive tendency to care for your toys, or, in this case, objects. If an object is cared for long enough, like really cared for, said object could potentially turn it into a vital instrument and make its owner a giver. What this does is create avenue for some of the most creative fights you've ever seen. This is another aspect of Gachiakuta that makes it so special. It doesn't shy away from taking a different approach to its combat. A lot of anime tends to follow the same basic formula with their power systems, but not Gachiakuta. It has no ranks or power levels, no transformations, no source of energy to feed their powers. It prioritizes creativity over spectacle, and is not afraid to go in depth with its magic system or the themes tied to it. Gachiakuta's magic system, the world, and especially our hero Rudo, centers around a simple theme about taking care of our things and using them to their fullest potential before discarding them. This is a theme that I don't believe has ever been touched on in shonen anime. And boy am I here for it. Look at the name of my channel. Look at it.
If I go blind, it was worth it.
Gachiakuta is an anime that talks about how we don't put enough thought and care into what we consume and discard. A lot of times, we buy objects that have certain uses to us, and when they break or serve their purpose, we just throw them away without giving a second thought. Never once thinking about the things that had to be destroyed to get you that object, or the labor that went into it, or how we are damaging the earth by not properly disposing of these objects. Whatever these objects may be, there is always a certain degree of care we owe to them, before they can finally be let go. A broken device could be fixed instead of being tossed in favor of a new one. A can of soda could be properly recycled instead of dumped in any trash can. And a torn teddy bear could be stitched up instead of finding a new home in a trash bag. You're not being cheap for trying to fix your broken objects, and you're not caving into the propaganda of societal righteousness by recycling. You're valuing your objects and helping a world that gives so much. Gachiakuta tells us all of this without ever once being preachy. Ruta was a child that was tossed away, which made him feel for objects that have been unnecessarily thrown away. Gachiakuta's world of trash mirrors the garbage of the Pacific we have in our oceans, or the mountains of garbage we have around the world. We should learn to care a little more about even the simplest things, because a simple act of preservation can make a big difference. Oh boy, that was heavy. Well, let's move on to the final thing so I can get some sleep. Let's talk about Gachiakuta. If by some very small chance you have happened to watch anime before in your life, you would have noticed certain things in anime that get repeated to such a degree that is now ingrained into the DNA of anime. Storytelling tropes, if you will, like it has no ranks or power levels, no transformations, no source of energy to feed your powers. These tropes have been so overused throughout the decades that it has now become anime itself. But here's the thing. The reason they exist in the first place is because they have been popular for as long as they have existed. And every executive behind anime seeks with their very soul the word popular, which is why so many anime tends to feel the same at times. The creators of these stories have to take the safest route by incorporating these tropes to ensure their work is not cut short by the higher-ups. Whether or not these writing elements become cliché depends on how well they are executed. And, unfortunately for us, not all authors have the talent to execute these tropes properly, leading to a saturation of cliché and oftentimes boring anime. But even if you don't look at the tropes, the world in which an anime takes place is the manifestation of everything that anime stands for. We either get anime set in the present day, or in some vanilla village. We barely get worlds like this. Or this. Why? Because all of this is not familiar and is thus a risky story to tell. While the backdrop of a story is not indicative of how good that story will be, it at times often signals the lack of bravery in storytelling. Fortunately though, even if anime tends to stay away from different and fantastical worlds, there are authors out there who work very well within their confines to create something unique and special. And how they do this is by evolving the tropes, making them more than the sum of their parts. Recent anime that have done this are the likes of Jujutsu Kaisen, My Hero Academia, Chainsaw Man, and many others. The creators of these stories don't just slap these tropes onto their work and call it a day, but they build everything around these tropes, expanding upon them, thus making them feel different. Yet, no matter how well these tropes are executed, they can start to feel very samey at times, even when the anime itself is great. Some people just see these tropes in an anime and tune out, hoping for something new, fresh, and brave. But then, once in a blue moon, a series comes along that breaks all of the rules and dares to give us something fresh. A story brave enough to innovate, instead of just evolving what came before. And that innovative anime, my dear viewers, is not Gachiakuta. It's Attack on Titan. It's not often we get anime that breaks the mold. The few times I have seen this type of anime, they're usually not talked about enough, or ruined by stupid executive decisions. But not Attack on Titan. Almost all the tropes in anime is absent from Attack on Titan, which is just to show how incredible of an anime it is. Attack on Titan was the first truly bold story to break away from the tropes of anime to give us something different. Attack on Titan gave us a unique story, epic and creative fights, and a world that was as bold as its characters. But Attack on Titan gave us all of this at a cost. Its characters. While the characters in Attack on Titan are incredible in their own right, they were still limited by its fast-moving plot. As I mentioned earlier in this video, we never got to delve deeper into these characters, nor did we ever spend any meaningful time with them or anyone else. A story like Attack on Titan was one that would have never survived the mainstream. So as a trade-off, its author made sure to push the plot as fast as he could, giving us reveals, chaos, and epic moments after epic moments. What I'm trying to say here is that Attack on Titan set the precedent with its world and story, yet it did so at a great cost. And with studios chasing trends and trying to recreate the same magic this anime had, the future anime risks getting a push towards originality and epicness, but with no character in between. And this is where Gachiakuta comes in. Gachiakuta's world is very different. That much is made very clear from the first episode. We have a civilization of pristine and neat individuals juxtaposed with a not so polished version of the clean upper class society. And then below that, we have a world ravaged by the trash the pristine civilization rain upon them. This setting alone tells us just how far Gachiakuta is willing to go with its story. Yet, it does this in a very smart way. Yes, we have something new and very different, but all of these elements are grounded in the familiar. By keeping several tropes of anime, Gachiakuta can freely tell a story without fear of being cut short for being so different. And the story is told with such competence that these tropes are also more than the sum of its parts. Gachiakuta is an anime that both evolves anime tropes and innovates in its storytelling. And most importantly, Gachiakuta manages to balance all of this without once sacrificing its characters. A rare feat to see in a lot of anime, and one of the reasons I believe Gachiakuta should helm the future of anime. We need anime brave and unique like Attack on Titan, and familiar yet character-driven like Chainsaw Man. If Gachiakuta continues to grow in popularity and reach the heights of some of the most popular anime of this decade, then we could see an influx of anime bold enough to tell meaningful stories. Gachiakuta is a prime example of everything anime needs to be going forward. For so long now, anime has always prioritized spectacle over substance. We need more anime that prioritizes both. We need more anime like Gachiakuta.
We only use our hands when we want to hurt somebody. And that's why nothing ever changes.
Then, let's try and be different. We can learn how to use our hands to help others, to connect. I still don't know how, but maybe we can work on it together.
Hello there, Ecoist here. Thank you so much for watching. Believe it or not, Gachiakuta was initially an anime I didn't have my sights on had someone not recommended it to me. And I deeply appreciate this recommendation, and I'm very grateful because this anime was incredible, and definitely one of my new favorites. If you haven't watched it yet, I hope this video has convinced you to do so. And if you have, then I hope I brought new and valuable insights to the anime. If you enjoyed the video, please do consider hitting the like button, as that'll help my channel immensely. And do consider subscribing if you'd like to see more of my very high quality videos. With all that being said, thank you once again for watching. Take care of yourselves, take care of the earth, have a wonderful rest of your day, and hopefully, I'll see you next time. Bye.